Flickering flames in the fireplace enveloped the room in a cozy glow, and the air was infused with the aromatic scent of burning pine. Jiang Li initially intended to gesture towards the corner sofa or the floor for her to rest, considering they were still not very familiar with one another. However, upon entering the room, the girl's gaze was not drawn to the plush bed, but fixated intently on the bedside table. There lay a few bright red wild fruits, the same ones she had exchanged for white bread with Jiang Li a few days prior. They were quite tart, and Jiang Li had planned to keep them as a source of vitamins, stowing them in the storage compartment of the bed. The girl timidly pointed at the fruits, then at herself, and looked at Jiang Li with hopeful eyes, miming a gesture of offering. "Is this for me? Do you like it?" Jiang Li understood her meaning and nodded. Although they had no common language, a nod was easily comprehensible. Upon receiving an affirmative response, the girl's initial awkwardness melted away. Jiang Li felt her heart soften and gestured towards the bed laden with a thick, duck-down comforter. "You can sleep here tonight." She wished to spare the little one from the cold, hard floor. Jiang Li led her to the bedside, lifted the corner of the comforter, and indicated for her to lie down. The girl stood by the bed, somewhat flustered. She reached out, gently touching the soft and delicate fabric of the bedding. Moreover, despite the bed being large, would it be too cramped for two? Soon after, the familiar faint glow illuminated once more. When the light faded, the girl's figure was absent from the bed. In its stead, there was a small kitten, entirely snow white, save for the delicate blush of blue at the tips of its ears and tail. It was no larger than a palm, currently nestled by the pillow, gazing up at Jiang Li with its vibrant green eyes and gently mewing. Such a compact creature would occupy little space. As a seasoned lover of plush companions, Jiang Li had nurtured countless virtual cats in her previous life, and now, amidst this frigid, desolate world, she found herself in possession of a living, transforming feline. Goodness! Jiang Li couldn't suppress a gasp of delight. Instinctively, she reached out and cradled the soft little creature in her arms. The texture was astonishingly delightful, smoother than the finest silk and warmer than a hand warmer. Unable to resist, she buried her face in the kitten's subtly fragrant belly, inhaling deeply, and then rubbed her cheek against its fluffy head. "So adorable. How can you be so precious?" However, the kitten's body stiffened abruptly. She was bewildered. The transformation into a cat was merely a means to conserve space, not an invitation for such intimate treatment. The kitten turned her head stiffly, her pink ears flattening back like airplane wings, her eyes betraying an extraordinarily human-like embarrassment and shyness. Were she in human form, her face would likely be crimson. Sensing the little one's rigidity, Jiang Li's reason returned. Wait a moment. Though this was a cat, at her core was a delicate maiden. Had she, in her exuberance, resembled a brutish captor? Jiang Li cleared her throat, feeling somewhat sheepish as she gently released the kitten and placed her back by the pillow. "Ahem, you should rest." She awkwardly gestured a sleeping motion, then quickly pulled the quilt over herself, attempting to mask her earlier indiscretion. The kitten, perched on the pillow, blinked in a half-understanding manner, seemingly confirming that Jiang Li would not abruptly pounce upon her again. After a moment's hesitation, she could not resist the warm allure emanating from the blankets and obediently lay down. Chapter 17. The arms dealer. The bedroom was as warm as spring, and the little white cat, transformed from a fairy maiden, had curled up by the pillow, emitting soft purring sounds. Jiang Li stood at the bedside for a moment, tucking the blanket around her, before turning and quietly exiting the room. As she pushed open the heavy wooden door of the main house, a gust of biting wind, laden with ice shards, rushed towards her. Yet, under the influence of the rules, this wind was not cold. In the camp's courtyard, the bonfire blazed vigorously, while at the periphery, beyond the recently erected wooden fence, ominous shadows lurked. With the flickering light of the fire, Jiang Li could discern several purplish arms reaching through the gaps in the fence, blindly clawing at the air. She did not rush to act, but instead observed calmly for a while. Indeed, while these undead creatures moved sluggishly, they seemed utterly oblivious to Jiang Li's presence behind the fence. Was this the safety zone defined by the rules? Jiang Li pondered thoughtfully. After confirming the temporary safety of the camp, she did not immediately return indoors. Instead, she leaned against the porch column and summoned the system interface. The number of survivors displayed in the upper right corner made her pupils contract slightly. Current area survivors, 308, 210, 000, just one night. Merely due to the emergence of the first wave of zombies, the originally populous district of over 4,000 had lost more than 1,000. Jiang Li clicked on the area chat channel. Even though it was late at night, the atmosphere here was unusually lively. That thing nearly tore my throat out. I'm so glad someone shouted to hide in the fence. Wah, the outside is filled with the sounds of screams. I dare not go out to look. What kind of bizarre game is this? It's cold, I'm starving, and there are monsters. Is there no way for us to survive? Stop wailing. Conserve your energy. I'm begging for weapons. Strong weapons. I have materials. Who can sell me a good weapon? Jiang Li's fingers gently glided across the screen, her gaze lingering on the numerous purchase requests. A lack of weapons. This was the most pressing issue all survivors faced. Most people possessed only the rudimentary stone axe or spear crafted at the beginning, which were not only low in durability, but also had disappointing attack power. Against the tough-skinned zombies, it was akin to mere scratching. Jiang Li instinctively touched the Riftwind double axes at her waist. She was both fortunate and unfortunate. Unfortunate to bear the title of super unlucky, yet fortunate that this title granted her an all-attribute bonus, endowing her with an exceptionally robust physique. Coupled with this finely crafted weapon obtained at the outset, slaying zombies posed little difficulty for her. However, she could not expect everyone to possess her level of skill. Jiang Li pursed her lips. Watching the number of survivors continue to decline slowly, she felt a sense of unease. This was not only due to a shared empathy as a fellow human being, but also stemmed from a practical consideration. She needed this group of people to survive. Her unlucky disposition rendered it exceedingly difficult for her to acquire rare resources through looting chests. If she wished to thrive in this world, upgrade her generator, and cultivate land, she must rely on a substantial player base to scavenge resources, which could then circulate to her through trade. Too many people was not advantageous. Yet too few was utterly untenable. Suddenly, Zhongli recalled something and opened her backpack. In the corner lay a blueprint emanating a faint blue glow. Blueprint, steel spear, superior. Reusable. This was a blueprint she had acquired earlier, having kept it hidden due to her possession of the double axes. Unlike those disposable high-grade blueprints that vanished after a single use, this one could be utilized infinitely. Steel spear. Requirements. Wood X1, steel, X1. Description. Simple, brutal, and effective. An inch longer is an inch stronger. It is the ultimate weapon against short monsters. The cost was astonishingly low, requiring merely 1 unit each of steel and wood. And what was the current market demand? Profitable beyond belief. She turned and walked toward the enormous tool shed on the side of the yard. Pushing open the door, the interior, though yet to be illuminated, exudes a certain somberness and chill. However, the neatly arranged workbenches, bathed in moonlight, radiate an industrial beauty. Zhongli approached the metalworking bench and placed the blueprint upon it, subsequently retrieving materials from her backpack to commence her crafting. As she focused her thoughts, a radiant white light emanated from the workbench. Mere seconds later, 5 sleek, jet-black spears, their tips glimmering coldly, materialized on the surface. Zhongli picked one up, weighing it in her hand. It felt solid and substantial, the tip remarkably sharp, surpassing the crude stone spears by several tiers in quality. For ordinary players cowering behind fences and shying away from close combat, this long-handled weapon was nothing short of a divine instrument, an efficient and safe means to strike from a distance. Without hesitation, she opened the marketplace. Items listed: steel spear, X4. Exchange requirements: steel, X3, wood X1. Remarks, or equivalent value in rare materials, blueprints, and seeds preferred. Each spear costs 1 steel and 1 wood. Price for sale at 3 steel and 1 wood, yielding a net profit of 2 steel. Is this price exorbitant? In this perilous moment, it feels like an act of charity. After all, this is a life-saving, finely crafted weapon. Zhongli even felt as though she was engaging in philanthropy. I hope this can help you, she murmured softly, clicking post. Subsequently, she sent a message in the rapidly escalating chat channel. Zhongli, for those in need of weapons, check the marketplace. I've just listed 4 steel spears. Excellent quality, long range. Perfect for monster hunting from behind a fence. Act fast. The moment the message was dispatched, the channel erupted. What? The spicy chicken leg lord? The deity has appeared. Steel spear? My heavens, I'm still wielding a broken wooden stick. I got one. Ha ha, I secured it. The sharpness is absolutely incredible. Thank you, spicy chicken leg lord. You're a lifesaver. I was just a second too late. It's gone? Already gone. Spicy chicken leg lord, do you have more? Please. I have 3 corpse demons scratching at my door. I'm about to wet myself. I'll pay double. I have copper coins from earlier. Lord, I have some peculiar seeds. Can I trade? Watching her private messages instantly swell to 99 and the 4 available slots in the marketplace vanish in an instant, Zhongli, although prepared for such a demand, was still astonished by the fervor. Not only steel, but the trading bar also filled with an assortment of miscellaneous items, with some even offering the exceedingly rare magnet in a frantic attempt to purchase. That was the core material for crafting wind turbine generators. Zhongli's eyes lit up. Seeing such enthusiasm, Zhongli took a deep breath, her gaze turning resolute as she regarded her ample steel reserves in her backpack. After all, there is no loss, she thought. Let us work a little harder. She stood once more at the workbench, adjusting the panel. Craft, craft, craft. White light flashed continuously in the workshop as steel spears were produced in rapid succession, stacking at her feet like a well-oiled assembly line. As she crafted her 50th spear, a sudden wave of dizziness swept over Zhongli, causing her to stumble and grasp the edge of the table for support. She rubbed her temples, beads of cold sweat forming on her forehead. This sensation of exhaustion was unlike anything she had experienced before. It was not merely the ache of tired muscles, but rather an overwhelming mental fatigue. It appeared that while the system provided a convenient crafting function, it came at a cost. Such intense mass production drained an invisible reservoir of energy or mental strength. It seemed she could not afford to exert herself so relentlessly in the future. Gasping for breath, Zhongli retrieved a bottle of premium nutrient solution from her backpack and took a swig, feeling the dizziness subside slightly. Glancing at the glimmering pile of 50 spears on the ground, she nodded in satisfaction. All were listed for sale at the previous price, but this time, she added a note. Priority purchase for magnets, wires, salt, and seeds. In less than 5 minutes, the 50 spears were swiftly snatched up. Many familiar faces had purchased her weapons. However, upon checking, she discovered an ID that filled her with disdain. Invincible War God. Withdraw transaction. Without hesitation, Zhongli clicked on the trade to cancel it, as transactions could be retracted within a short period. Soon after, the channel erupted with the lamentations of Invincible War God. Everyone, beware of the spear sold by Spicy Chicken Burger. It's a scam. I paid, but the item vanished. What are you talking about? I received mine and have been using it. The feel is quite good. Yeah, I've already used it to poke several corpse demons. Spicy Chicken Burger. I couldn't snag one earlier. Are there any left? Before long, Invincible War God noticed the system's notification indicating that the transaction had been cancelled by Zhongli. Spicy Chicken Burger. What do you mean by retracting my order? I urgently need a weapon.